Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the Build a Codeigniter PHP app series. In this video, I want to basically do 3 different things. Alright, so first thing I want to do is I want to be able to truncate the text. If we add, let's say, 4 or 5 paragraphs to a post, we don't want that to show on the index page. We want it to truncate a certain amount of words so that it's not so long and we can click read more and then see the rest. Alright, that's the first thing I want to do. Then I want to be able to, I want to add categories. We're going to add a categories database table, and when we create a post we're going to be able to select a category and then we can display the category here as well. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to be able to upload images or an image to a post. Okay, we'll create a file upload field so that we can add an image. So we'll start with the truncate because that's pretty easy. We're going to go and open up application config autoload, and we just want to load the text helper. So you can see we already have the URL in the form helper. Now we're going to add text. Okay, we'll save that. Then we're going to go to the post controller, and I'm sorry, not the controller, the view. We want to go to views, posts, and then index. Alright, now since we enabled the text helper, we have access to a function called word limiter. So we're going to go to where we're outputting the body, which is right here, and we're just going to wrap that in word underscore limiter. Okay, so it's going to take in the body as one parameter, and then the next parameter will be the amount of words that we want. So let's see what 50 looks like. Alright, so we'll save that, and if we look at post 2 and you see how long it is, let's reload. Now you can see it's shorter and it ends with these 3 dots. If we click read more, we can move on and see the full text. Alright, so I think that's good. Let's make it 60. Make it a little longer. Alright, so that's all set. Now for categories, what we want to do is go into the database, and we're going to create a new table called categories, and that's going to have 3 fields. We want an ID, which is going to be a auto increment and primary key. We want a name, which will be a varchar 255, and then a create date, or let's do created at, and that's going to be a timestamp, and then it's going to have a default of current timestamp. Alright, so now we have this categories table, but we need to add a field inside the post table. So let's go to posts, structure, and we're going to add 1 column after ID, and that's going to be category underscore ID, and that's going to be an int. Alright, so if we look at our posts now, they all have a category of 0. Let's just go ahead and actually, before we do that, we'll add a couple categories. So if we go to categories and then insert, let's say we want business as a category and technology. Alright, so now we have these 2 categories. Business has the ID of 1 and technology has the ID of 2. So let's go back to posts, and then I'm just going to edit the category ID. We'll say that one's 1, 1, and 2. Alright, so now they have categories. So what we want to do is on our create post form, we want a category drop down. So let's go to our post index, our post controller, and go down to where we have our create. Now, in order to populate a drop down full of categories, we have to fetch them from the database. So let's add another data element to the array, and we'll call this categories, and we'll set this to this, and then we want the model, which is post model, and we'll have a function called get categories. Alright, so let's open up the model. Now you could create a separate categories model or even a separate categories controller, but we're just going to keep it all in posts. Alright, so post model, And let's see, we'll go down to the bottom and say public function get categories. And let's see, what do I want to do here? Let's say this DB, and let's do an order by, and we'll order by name of the category, and then we'll say this DB get, and let's pass in categories for the table. Now I want this to be in a variable called query, and then we're just going to return, we're going to return query and then result underscore array. Okay, so that'll return the categories as an array. Now since that's going to this data variable, we're passing it into the view, so we should have access to it. So let's go to the create view, and we're going to go under the form group where the text area is, and we're going to create another form group. Okay, let's put in a select. Actually, let's do a label first. Okay, then we'll do a select with a name of category ID, and let's give it a class of form control. And what we'll do is do a for each loop through the categories. Okay, so we'll say for each categories as category, and we want to spit out an option for each one, so option value. Now for the text, let's echo out the category name, so we can say category name, and then for the value, that's going to be the ID. So we'll copy that, change this to ID. Alright, so let's take a look at that. So now we have a drop down, and it's being populated with the categories. Now we have to handle when we actually submit this. So the controller, we shouldn't have to add anything here, but if we go to the model and we go to create post, we're just going to add in here category underscore ID, and that's going to be this input post category ID. Alright, and that should get put in the table. And while we're here, we might as well also put that in the update right here. Okay, we're going to have to add it to the update form as well. But let's go ahead and try this. Let's see, let's delete this post 4. Alright, and then we'll create post, and we'll just call this post 3. We'll choose technology, submit, and now let's go to the database and take a look. And post 3 has the category ID of 2, which is technology. Now if we want it to display here, we actually have to do a join, so we can join in the categories so that we can get the name. So in the model where we have get posts, we're just going to go right above this this query right here, and let's see, we're going to say this DB join. Okay, so we want to join in the categories table, right? And then the second parameter, we want to say where categories.id is equal to posts.category ID. That's what's going to match them. Now, since we're doing an order by ID, this is going to be ambiguous because there's an ID in both tables. So we have to define which table. So it's going to be post.id. Alright, so now we shouldn't see any change here yet, but we should now have access to the category name inside the view. So let's go, let's see, we want to go to index, post index PHP, and where we have the date, it says posted on and then the date. Well, after the date, we're going to say in PHP echo post. We should have access to name from the categories table. Okay, we'll go ahead. Actually, you know what? Let's add strong tags around that. And there we go. So now you're seeing the category name. Alright, so we also want to be able to update the category, because right now if we click edit, it's not there. So we're going to grab it. We're going to go to the create view and just copy the form group with the select, and then we'll go to edit and we'll paste that in there and save it. And now let's say we go to post 3 and we want to edit. Oh, you know what? We're not getting the categories here. We have to go back to the controller, and in create, where we put this line right here to get categories, we're going to have to put that in edit as well, right here. Okay, then we'll reload, and now we can get them. So post 3, let's change that to business, and now it's business. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to be able to add images. So we're going to have to do a couple things actually. Let's go into the create view, and we're going to have to change this form open to form open multipart so that it can upload files. Alright, and then we're going to go and add another form group down below the category. So say class form group, and inside here we're going to put a label. We'll say upload image. Then we want input, which will have the type of file, and then we'll call the name, we'll just call it post image, and let's give it a size of 20. Alright, so that should give us an image upload button. Let's go to create post, and now we can choose a file. Now it's not going to do anything yet. We have to handle it in the controller. So let's go to posts and then create. And we need to go in this else because that's where it's actually going to get submitted. And let's say upload image. Okay, so there's a bunch of config options we have to put in. Okay, the first one's going to be the upload path, where we want this to go. So I'm going to say .assets/images/post. Alright, now let's create that folder. So over here under assets, we're going to say new folder, images, and inside there, new folder, posts. So that's where it'll go. Now we're going to add some other configs here. So let me just copy this. Okay, so we're also going to have allowed types. And that's going to be, we'll say GIF, and it's separated with a pipe character, GIF, JPEG, and PNG. Alright, and then the next one will be the max_size, and let's make that 2 gigs. We'll say 2048, and then let's do a max width, and we'll make that, say, 500, and a max height we'll also say 500. Alright, you can set that to whatever you'd like. Now what we have to do is we need to say this load. Okay, so actually this load library. And in here we're going to pass in upload. And then we're going to pass in that config array. So now we have to check to see if it was uploads. So we're going to say if else. So if not this upload, and then we need to say do underscore upload. Okay, so if it's not uploaded, and that's a function, then we're going to put inside of an errors variable an array, and we'll say error, set that to this upload, display errors, just like that. And then we're going to create a variable called post image, and we're going to set that to no image .jpg. Okay, so you'll be able to create an image if you want. That's kind of a default image if the user doesn't upload one. Okay, and you don't have to use that, but it's just something that you can do. Alright, and then down here, if it is uploaded, then we're going to say data equals array, and inside here we're going to say upload underscore data, and let's set that to this upload data. Alright, and then we're going to say post image is going to be equal to the files super global, and then we want to get post image because that's the name of the field that we created, and then we want to get the name. Okay, and that's going to go inside of this variable. Now we want to insert this as a database field, so we're going to have to add that field. So in the post table, let's go to structure, and then we'll say after body, and let's call this post image, which will be a varchar 255. Alright, so we want to insert this post image, whether it's this if there is one, or this if there isn't. So we're going to pass it into the model like that, save it, and then we'll go to the model to create post, and that's going to be taking in post image, and then we just want to add that to our database. Post image, set that to post image. Alright, so it's doing two things when it uploads. It's going to get put in the folder that we specified, and then the name of it is going to get put in the database. Alright, so let's go ahead and try it. So we'll say test post. This is a test post, and let's choose a file, and I'm going to grab the Angular image right here and submit. Now it's not going to show here yet because we haven't done that, but let's look at the database, and you'll see that it has no image. Now I think I know the reason for that, so I'm going to delete that whole post that we just did. And I think the reason is because if we go in our create view, we named it post image. I think it has to be named user file. I don't know why, but I think it does. Alright, so that means we have to also change it right here where we put post image should be user file. Alright, so we'll save that, and let's try it again. So we'll go create post, and let's say test post. Okay, we'll choose technology as the category, and let's grab that Angular picture, submit, and now you can see it popped up over here, so it did upload Angular PNG, And then if we look at the database, you can see the post image name is angular.png. So apparently that has to be called user file. Alright, so we know that's working. Now we want to display the image, and we know we have the image name in the database, so we can use that. So let's go to index PHP, which is the view for our posts. And we're going to put under the title a div, give it a class of row, and let's do 2 columns. Call MD3, call MD9. Alright, and we're going to grab this, cut, put that in the 9 column, space that out a little bit, and then up here will be the image. So image source, and for that we should be able to do PHP echo. We need the core URL, so we can use site URL. And then we want to go into assets / images / posts / and then we're going to echo out post and post underscore image. Okay, so that's going to pull the name from the database. So let's save that, and now we have the image. Now if we were to create a post without an image, now we'll say post no image. This is a post with no image. Okay, so I'm not going to choose a file, and submit, and now this should be noimage.png. Okay, right here, JPEG, noimage.jpg. So if we create an image and call it noimage.jpg, it's going to show up here. Alright, so let's grab, let's just say avatar placeholder. Okay, so we'll just grab like one of these, I guess. So I'm going to save it to our XAMPP, htdocs, CI blog, assets, images, posts, and I'm going to save it as noimage.jpg. And now we have it there. Okay, we'll have to fix that with the styling. Let's see. We'll give it a class. I think Bootstrap has a class of thumbnail. Yeah, but that didn't do anything. Let's add a class. Let's just say post thumb, and then let's go to our CSS, which is in assets CSS, and say post thumb, and we'll just set a width of 100% of its container. And now, nothing. Huh. Oh, post. Image class post thumb. That should work. What if we get rid of the thumbnail? That's pretty weird. Oh, it's not even seeing that style for some reason. Is it not reading the style CSS? Oh, maybe because there's a double slash there. Let me just check out header PHP, which is in the views templates header. Alright, so let's get rid of that and then reload. There we go. All right, so now never mind these, because we did this before we even had the capability to add images. So I'm actually going to delete these. All right, but now every time you add a post from now on, if you don't add an image, you'll have this. If you do, then obviously that image will show up. All right, now let's get the image on the main page as well. So we'll go to view. What is it? Views, posts, view.php, and let's just put this, we'll put it right under the date. So image, we'll give it that class of post. Is that what I called it? Post image? Post thumb. Okay, and I'll just grab the source from here. I'll just grab this whole thing. Alright, so let's see if that works. Whoa, okay. So it's giving it 100% of the entire thing, so maybe we won't do the post thumb. We'll just let it be its normal size. Alright, so there we go. So that's how we can add images, that's how we can add categories, and that's how we can truncate the text. Alright, so in the next video, when I make it, I'm not going to do it right now, but we will be adding a user login system so that you have to log in to add posts and stuff. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking through it, and I will see you then.